Welcome to Brandon Debunks the World. So yeah, put on your swimmies because we're going to dive headfirst into the shallow end. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and visit us on Patreon, or my aloe plant's going to die because I can't pay the water bill. For decades now, man has gazed upon the marvel of the Great Pyramids, using all of his logic, deductive reasoning, and intellectual fortitude to figure out how someone could make a buck off these things. It's no wonder the mysteries of Giza flourish to this day. It's a honeypot of revenue generation in what would otherwise be the armpit of the world. The illicit mummy trade alone is worth billions, and not to mention the antiquities market that goes along with it. So we're just going to step right over the dead camel in the road, get our heads out of the sand, and objectively look at what is staring us in the face and ask, how in the hell were these things built? In the 1970s, I don't know the year, the 70s were fuzzy for everyone, a guy by the name of Joseph Davidovits came up with an outside-of-the-box idea, one so simple it had to be wrong. The concept was not that 2.3 million stones at up to 15 tons apiece had been quarried and cut with copper chisels, wood hammers, and a lack of the will, but rather the stones could have been poured from an ancient form of concrete, not dissimilar to the mud brick ziggurats of Mesopotamia, or the ancient Roman concrete structures that still stand today. Unfortunately, Davidovits JD was a guy for the job. He was a highly respected materials scientist, and this guy actually invented geopolymer chemistry, gaining him the prestigious French Award of Merit. He made a whole new thing, an area of study not yet seen. So at this point, instead of boring you with tons of research papers and facts that if you honestly gave a shit about, you would research yourself, I'm going to cut to the brass monkey's balls here. He created a sample made of 4 common ingredients found on the Nile: dissolved limestone, natron, quicklime, and water. These samples were then compared by independent labs to verified portions of the true pyramid limestone. 4 of the 4 labs found them to be near, if not identical in nature and composition. Also, this guy went the extra mile, discovering the blocks to be more dense at the bottom, with larger air pockets at the top, an overall stratification of large and small inclusions in the rock, and quarry stones they found were not matching in chemical composition. This lit a fire under the ass of one Zahi Hawass. Needless to say, this villain from the Temple of Doom had a come apart and could be heard screaming the songs of his ancestors from the rooftops. He's a ride-or-die old-school Egyptologist, and even ran off from well-noted journalist Graham Hancock when asked to a debate. I mean, we're not arguing Egypt wasn't great, or that it didn't do some amazing work. Things of yet we can't figure out, but laying one block every 5 minutes, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, for 20 years is a bit far-fetched. It's hard acknowledging new scientific evidence. It's even more difficult when it bucks the careers of people who spent their whole lives looking at one corner of a building and making guesses about it and fearing change or a different view should it threaten their tenure. This theory solves a lot. The way to create a perfectly level structure is to pour it. The way to create joints not even a human hair can penetrate is to pour one block beside the other. It would be so simple to build any angled structure of any size with a simple string, protractor, and level. You don't need aliens, you don't need Atlanteans, you don't need a lost civilization, or really pale gods from 10,000 BC. You just need an ant colony of people with mortar baskets marching like a bucket brigade of cement. I really hope I didn't ruin your childhood, anthills, or ancient aliens. Thank you for watching Brandon Debunks the World. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and check us out on Patreon, or not. It's your call, no pressure. Comment down below, give us some ideas for more shows, or just vent from the safety of your basement about how wrong I am with no repercussions or, real world consequences.